Imagine, as a woman, being a resident of a country where you are not allowed to sing, read, go to school, or even speak to a man or to another woman. Imagine living in a country where that country is labeled as the world's most repressive country for women by the United Nations in 2023. Because not just that, you also have to completely veil your whole body and your face all the time with thick clothing. Hello there, my name is Marchella, a student from 3 Vocational High School Jakarta who is currently curious about a serious case in Afghanistan. Like what I've mentioned before, Afghan women are now trapped after the Taliban, an Islamic political movement from Afghanistan, ruled the country. They are trying to put women's rights to the trash bin as a political movement, they said. They even think that women's voices as a form of intimacy is incredibly frightening. Someone even said that in Afghanistan, a squirrel has more rights than a woman. Wow, ridiculous, don't you think? The Taliban didn't even have a rational reason for what they're doing right now. A woman who broke these rules will get punished by the Taliban, such as imprisonment, violence, harassment, etc. And you know what? Keeping these rules going made the laws and the country movements led by a man without any agreement and arguments from a woman as half the population of a country. Women activists also being threatened by the government, which doesn't make sense at all, you know? And now, the government are trying to bury those women's dreams and little girls' dreams there. Younger girls in Afghanistan might grow up with a mindset that they are not allowed to speak. They might have a trauma and fear to even say a word to the public. Compared to some global data in terms of gender equality, the Global Gender Gap Index ranked Afghanistan 146 out of 146 countries with this gender equality. And then talking about education, Afghanistan used to have 3.7 million girls in schools and universities. But after the Taliban ruled, approximately 2.5 million girls erased from schools and universities, leaving boys as the only resident who are allowed to study. Okay, so now enough with the data and the facts. Now let's think. Is it like, don't you think it is very weird and extraordinary? Why can't women speak? Why can't they study or even get a job? Why do they think that women's voices are frightening? This kind of thing should not be called as a culture of a country. Not only in an Afghan woman case, several places around the world still have this gender inequality where women cannot give their voices about their perspective on some things. They have to realize that globally, free speech is a universal right for human, and women are human, you know. This way, women should and must have the right to free speech about themselves. And you know what? In my opinion, if they actually want to apply and release this kind of rule to a country, at least give us a rational reason that does make sense. Like, this is not just like a reason where you can apply randomly to a country because, you know, just like what they said, women's voices are frightening, trying to protect women's Islamic rights and stuff. Those are not the strong reason to apply such a crucial thing to a country. This is not unimportant, you guys. This is not a culture. This is a moral crisis. So we have to see women as a human, just like men. So give us the same privilege as you give those men. And now, as a woman who live in a country where you can speak and you can give your voice to the public, we should be proud, of course. But notes, we can use this privilege to help our girls in Afghanistan or any other places in the world who feel the same. If you are a student or a resident who is not really big, like an influencer or stuff, you can help those women from your social media. You can maybe like share awareness and stuff to realize people globally and do the same thing like that. But if you have a better privilege, maybe you have the opportunity to attend political meetings or stuff, bring these ideas, guys. Bring it globally to support our girls far away there. Do not let this gender inequality affect the culture of a country, because this is again a moral crisis. And again, I would say women are also human, and as we all know, humans have the right to free speech. So let women to have their free speech and see women as the same as you see men. And that's all for me. That's my last quote. Hope you learned something from my speech, and thank you for the opportunity. Bye.